I'm surrounded by maps, like all the way around.
Yep, I'm rolling it.
Jonathan will take whatever he
Good to go?
can.
Okay.
Good kids.
Good evening, everyone. So thank you for allowing an extra minute or two to see if we can get the owl to work, but unfortunately it'll just be an audio only event tonight. So good evening. Thank you everyone for being with us. Before I call the special meeting to order, I'd like to remind Council administration that if you're wishing to speak, you'll need to direct your comments to the Deputy Mayor. Please wait until the Deputy Mayor grants permission before speaking. If you wish to ask administration a question, kindly direct your question to the CAO. The CAO will either answer directly or call upon the appropriate administration official to respond. With that said, I'd like to call the special meeting of Fundy Albert Council to order for April 8th, 2025. First on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. The agenda has been circulated to you in advance. Does anyone have any additions they would like to bring forward?
I'd like to add addition an L, or M, I guess, public statements.
Perfect. So there's been a request for an addition of public statements. Does all of council approve of this addition?
Yes.
Yep. Perfect. So then could I please get a councillor to make a motion to approve the agenda as amended? So the motion has been made by Councillor Coates, seconded by Councillor Jonah. Any questions on the motion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion has been approved unanimously. We'll move on to number 3 on the agenda, which is the conflict of interest declarations. Does council have any conflicts to declare? Seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item number 4. Item number 4 is resolutions. There are several resolutions for us to consider tonight, so we'll get started with 4A. 4A is the EMO director appointment. With the departure of the CAO, who was appointed on March 5th, 2024, the council must appoint a new director of Municipal Emergency Measures Organization for Fundy Albert. Is council prepared to make a motion?
I am.
Thank you, Councillor Alderkin.
Fundy Albert Council appoint Kim Beers clerk as the Director of Municipal Emergency Measures Organization pursuant to Section 9B of the NB Emergency Measures Act, RSNB 2011 C147.
Perfect. So the motion is made by Councillor Alderkin. Is there a seconder for that motion? So it's been seconded by Councillor Land. Any questions on the motion?
Can I make a statement?
This is the time. Yeah, so we'll go with Councillor Elderkin and then Councillor Coates. Councillor Elderkin?
So the reason I have suggested the clerk for this is I've gone back to the act and I've gone back and watched the meeting from March 5th, 2024 where the appointment was made, and it appears the appointment was made based on the position of the clerk, not necessarily the CAO. So that's where my rationale came, that this should be a clerk's position, because it talks a lot about the powers of the municipality, talks about entering into contracts, ensuring that people get paid, and that more falls under the clerk's position. That's not to say we can't change it in the later days, but that is my that's my backup for why I've made the suggestion, the motion the way I've made it.
Perfect. Thank you, Councillor Alderkin. Councillor Coates?
I've been studying on the Municipal Emergency Measures Plan. It's March 2025, 98 pages of it, and I thought it was going to be postponed till June. We'd have to sign it off. It looks like it's going to be the end of April. So I'm going to probably have to sit down with the clerk and go through it. And unless I don't think she'd have the time to go all through it. Maybe, but I don't know.
Have you approved this document yourself? There's no issues in your mind?
I haven't read it all, no. I've started,
Mhm.
and I haven't seen anything so far, but, I don't know if Jim Lindsay has, have you read it?
I have
Can
read
I,
it.
oh, just a second, please. Yeah.
I think this is two different topics. To me, he's talking about approving the whole act, we're just talking about appointing
Yeah.
somebody.
Okay, so we do have a motion on the table, Councillor Coates.
Yep.
So we'll leave your question until after, if you're all right.
Okay.
Okay, fair enough. And actually, that might be a separate. Unfortunately, the agenda's already been approved for tonight, so unfortunately, that will have to come up in an additional meeting. Fair enough. All right, so we do have a motion on the table. Is there any more questions on the motion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has been approved unanimously. Perfect. We're going to continue on to item number B, which is the EMO Coordinator Honorarium. During a closed session at the Committee of the Whole meeting on March 18th, 2025, the Council agreed that the EMO Coordinator should be recognized for their efforts with an annual honorarium of $1,500. Is Council prepared to make a motion on this?
I'll read that motion. Whereas a volunteer EMO coordinator plays a pivotal role in ensuring the safety and preparedness of our community, and whereas the role of the EMO coordinator is critical in ensuring the safety and preparedness of our community in times of emergency, and whereas the Council wishes to acknowledge and support the ongoing efforts of the EMO coordinator, be it resolved that the Council adds the provision to the EMO committee terms of reference to annually award an honorarium of $1,500 to the volunteer EMO coordinator.
Perfect, thank you, Councillor Lance. So the motion's made by Councillor Lance, seconded by Councillor Jonah. Any questions on this motion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. This motion has been approved unanimously. Moving on to item number C, which is signing officer banking. Due to the departure of the CEO, it is necessary to appoint a secondary signing authority to the treasurer. Is council prepared to make a motion on this?
Yes. Whereas the departure of the chief administrator officer necessitates the appointment of a secondary signing authority to the treasurer to ensure continuity in financial operations, and whereas it is essential to maintain redundancy during any absences of the treasurer to uphold the integrity and efficiency of our financial management processes, be it resolved that the Council of Fundy Alfred hereby appoints Krista Ronald, the accounting clerk, as the authorized bank signing signatory effective immediately. Effective immediately.
Perfect. Thank you, Councillor Elderkin. So the motion's made by Councillor Elderkin. Is there a seconder on that motion? It's been seconded by Councillor Coates. Any questions on this motion?
Who was the signing authority now?
You're asking me that? Yeah, so I believe the two administration signing authorities would be the treasurer and the CAO. And on the, I call it the other side, but on the council side, currently it would be myself and Councillor Elderkin.
So keep in mind that once we have a new CAO in place and a new mayor, I will be coming off as a councillor and the new CAO will be going on. So this is just for a short-term interim.
Perfect. Any other questions on the motion? Go ahead.
I wish to point out too that the synopsis did say that the clerk still maintains the authority to sign contracts and agreements on behalf of the municipality. This is just signing authority. And I believe on the other side, it would be the mayor and the deputy mayor.
Correct.
That would be the signing authorities.
All right, so we've got a motion on the table. We'll go to a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has been approved unanimously. Moving on to D, CCRC lease agreement. The council report form discussed a request from Chipotle Communities Revitalization Committee, CCRC, to receive permission to commence work on the property lease from the municipality. Is council prepared to make a motion?
I move that the Chipotle Communities Revitalization Committee, CCRC, render approval to proceed with the following proposals on municipal property, CID number 01104-108 and part of 002 629-311. 1, removal of all alders and brush on the south and east side of the lot. 2, placement of large rocks to control the parking area. And 3, regarding the area behind and around the flower bed. Regrading, excuse me.
Perfect. Thank you, Councillor Jonah. Is there a seconder on that motion? Thank you, Councillor Land. Any questions on this motion? I do have one myself. Just curious. I know that originally there was different PIDs listed on this. I'm just curious of the reason why the change of PIDs. And I'll direct my question to the CAO.
I believe in the first agreements, it was the PAN that was being used instead of the PID, for one. However, there is a possible issue on this motion. I thought somebody was going to bring it up. One of those PIDs might not necessarily be our property, and the administration should probably take some additional time to look further into it. The one on the corner is registered to a different entity. Whether that over time, I think it was registered in 1917, so whether that over time has become our property, we're really not sure of it. It was only in the looking at the legal documents that made us realize that we need to maybe spend a bit more time on that. My recommendation would be that council table this until we've had some time to look at it and talk to the CCRC. We haven't even had a chance. It was just kind of a today thing. We are not paying taxes on that property. We thought we were, and we are not, and we've learned that today. So I believe it requires, I do also think that this motion could probably go ahead with 2 of the PIDs and leaving that one out, and the CCRC would still be able to get the work done that they needed to get done. But we haven't had a chance to consult with them at this time.
So I'm hearing, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, so in the motion, we have left that one area out, so that shouldn't hold up what we're trying to do here.
Okay.
And I do agree with the CAO that obviously a conversation will have to be done with CCRC because the contract or the lease agreement that we have identifies a piece of property that we may not own.
So I assume the contract's already been written
It
and
has been written and it was signed and returned to us on Friday, so
okay.
We'll have to look further into that one.
One question if I may.
Mhm.
It also says number 3, regrading the area behind and around the flower bed.
That would be on that page.
That would be on that pit, so we can't touch that.
Okay, so if that's the case, and I do believe this motion, there needs to be some changes to that at this point. So, but we do have a motion on the table. So,
So can I suggest that whoever made the motion, which I guess I'll refer to the clerk here, if the person that made the motion is willing to modify it to take out number 3, that would solve the issue.
Absolutely.
and that's fair to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so the mover of this motion has agreed to remove the scope of work labeled as number 3, which is the degrading or the regrading of the area behind and around the flower bed. And the seconder is okay with the changes?
I sure am.
Perfect. Any other questions on this motion? Seeing none, we'll go to a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The motion has been approved unanimously. Next on the agenda is the E6 proposal. This is to seek approval for entering into agreement with E6 for financial accounting services utilizing local government's funding. Is council prepared to make a motion?
I will make a motion to start the discussion. Fundy Albert hereby approves the agreement with E6 International Inc. and authorizes the contract to be sourced from funds received from the Department of Environment and Local Government.
Thank you, Councillor Elderkin. Is there a seconder on that motion? Seconded by Councillor Jonah. Questions on this motion?
Part of the discussion is I would like to table this based on the conversations we've just had on our closed session with a further meeting coming up. So I'd like to table it for the future.
Okay, I assume you need a vote to table?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fair enough. Any other questions on this motion?
I just think it's a little vague in the write-up.
Mhm.
They're, maybe I'm a little bit more detailed than some, I'm not sure. But there's some, I guess the word used earlier was deliverables. We're a little short and timelines, and time is of a very importance. That's all part of our conversation going forward with CBA and all that's wrapped up in this package. So, yeah, just want to make that note.
Perfect, thank you for those comments. Any other comments on this proposal? Seeing none, are we ready for the question? All in favor, signify by saying aye. And I guess let me back up here. What we're voting on is to table this motion. Okay, so all in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion has been approved unanimously. Riverside Albert Fire Department purchase, number F on the agenda, the high angle rescue equipment. Is council prepared to make a motion?
Yes. Whereas the Riverside Albert Fire Department has requested approval for the purchase of a high-angle equipment, whereas the Riverside Albert Fire Department has obtained a quote from Brunswick Fire and Safety Limited for $15,740.25 plus HST, whereas the Riverside Albert Fire Department has a $40,000 budget for new fighting equipment, be it resolved that the Riverside Albert Fire Department be granted spending authority of $15,740.25 for the acquisition of the new high-angle rescue equipment from Brunswick Fire and Safety.
Perfect, so that motion is made by Councillor Erdogan, seconded by Councillor Land. Any questions on this motion?
Excuse me. I think this is great for our local fire departments. There's some times in the past they've had to use stuff that this will make it more professional and safe. And but I do say there's only one quote that came in on this, and I suspect maybe that's because of the specific equipment that they're going to use. So, which is fine. I just want to make that note.
Yeah, no, I believe that we did have this discussion at one of the last meetings, and I believe that's one of the reasons we were told that there was only one quote.
Yeah, I think it was in the write-up that was given to us for the package tonight that, I can't really think of his name now, but that he only got one quote.
Perfect. Any other questions on this motion? Seeing none, we'll go to a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Did you say nay, Councillor Coates?
Nay.
Perfect. Please note that, Clerk. So motion has been approved with 4 votes to 1. G, which is Legion Street, water and sewer hookup. Is council prepared to make a motion on this?
Yes. Whereas it was previously resolved that Scoper Utility pay for the installation of water and sewer services at 94 Legion Street, whereas the owner of 94 Legion Street pay the required fee as per Hillsboro's bylaw number 30, whereas it was resolved the administration be instructed to solicit quotes to complete the work at 94 Legion Street, whereas administration has received the following 3 quotes. Christian McLean Construction at $15,300 plus HST, Charles Smith Construction $16,850 plus HST, Jasco Construction $11,390 plus HST. Be it resolved that the contract for service installation at 94 Legion Street be awarded to Jasco Construction in the amount of $11,390 plus HST.
Perfect. Thank you, Councillor Land. So the motion's made by Councillor Land. Is there a seconder for this motion? Seconded by Councillor Coates. Any questions on this motion? Seeing none, we'll move into a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has been approved unanimously. Number H on the agenda, which is the RTIPA policy, Right to Information and Protection of Privacy Policy. Is council prepared to make this motion?
I move that the Fundy Albert Council approves the right to information and protection of privacy HIPAA policy as presented to ensure compliance with the Right to Information Act and privacy bylaws.
Perfect. So the motion's made by Councillor Jonah. Is there a seconder for this motion?
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Elderkin. Any questions on this motion?
Sorry,
No,
just
go ahead.
one question for me is, the RTIPA, I wouldn't say fascinated is the right word, but sometimes I struggle with words, but it's interesting that there isn't a provincial RTIPA policy, because whether you're in this municipality or Riverview or Moncton, it should all be the same.
And it is the same. There is the act.
Right.
Mhm.
But the wording in each policy is different from municipalities, so again, it goes back to interpretation, correct? Yours versus another, not you personally, but yours versus another municipality. So to me, it should be the provincial RTIPA policy that every municipality has to use for consistency within the province of New Brunswick. That's how I'm seeing it. So I understand, I believe that this was a combination of a couple RTIPA policies. So what were some of the differences that was modified from one municipality to ours?
Well, the city of Moncton's is very, very detailed because it's a much larger municipality, and I also use the town of Salisbury's, and then compared it with the act. But the information in this policy is very point blank as far as what's needed in order to do what needs to be done. Sorry.
If I could just strengthen that, the purpose, an act tells you what you should be doing, and the organization and the policy in the organization says who is going to be doing what. So in the RTIPA policy, we say who is going to be the head of who receives complaints, how are complaints. So the policy is supporting of the act, and the act is very vague. The policy will be very specific to each municipality.
And policy can be updated as needed as well, right? So, where it's a little different than a bylaw.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions from council with regards to the motion on the table? Seeing none, perfect. We'll go to a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion has been approved unanimously. Number I on the agenda, which is the Bobcat snowblower. I will entertain a motion from council if you're prepared to do so. Seeing no motion is being made, the motion has been defeated. We'll move on to item number J, which is Water Street, Riverside, Albert. Is council prepared to make this motion?
Whereas the owner of 37 Water Street, Riverside, Albert has expressed an interest in purchasing PID number 050150607 or a portion thereof, and whereas a council report form was presented at the February 18th, 2025 Committee of the Whole meeting with further information regarding property valuation and municipal interest presented at the March 18th, 2025 Committee of the Whole, be it resolved that administration be directed not to proceed with the sale of PID number 050150607 or portion thereof to the owner of 37 Water Street, Riverside, Albert.
Perfect, thank you, Councillor Elderkin. So the motion is made by Councillor Elderkin, seconded by Councillor Land. Any questions on this motion?
Nope, I think, again, my thoughts haven't changed from the February 18th meeting, is that we're not sure what lies ahead, and this property is a piece of property that does have a portion of the trail on it, and I don't think we're in a situation that we should be disposing of it at this time.
Perfect, thank you for your comments. Any other comments from any of the council members? If not, we'll go into a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has been approved unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to item number K, under Maritime Bylaw Officer. The purpose of the motion is to amend the existing motion regarding the appointment of bylaw officers. Is council prepared to make a motion?
Whereas the current motion regarding the appointment of bylaw officers includes names that need to be updated, be it resolved that the existing motion be amended to reflect the following changes. The name Keith Pico be removed. Be it further resolved that these changes take effect immediately upon approval of this amendment.
Thank you, Councillor Elderkin. Motion is made by Councillor Elderkin, seconded by Councillor Land. Any questions on this motion? If not, we'll go to a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has been approved unanimously. L. Moving on to L of the agenda, revised of 2019-2023 Canada Community Building Fund Capital Plan. So there's been an update from the CCBF 2019-23 Capital Plan. Is council prepared to make this motion?
I move to approve the document entitled Fundy 5-Year Capital Investment Plan for the Canada Community Building Fund, CCBF, 2019 to 2023 be adopted.
Perfect. Thank you, Councillor Jonas. So the motion has been made by Councillor Jonas, seconded by Councillor Coates. Any questions on this motion? Seeing none, we'll go into a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has been approved unanimously. So I believe next on the agenda is the addition of the item to tonight's agenda, which would be under public statements. And I believe we have one unregistered statement from Mr. Warwick. So, Mr. Warwick, please join the table.
Thank you, Mayor and councilors. And thanks to Norman Woodworth for his question last week. Further to my March 11th presentation expressing concerns regarding the 2023 incomplete audit and noting prior to the February 25 COW, the criticality of the audit problems were not mentioned. During the March 18 COW, the administration offered rebuttal to my comments citing a series of meeting minutes wherein the audit was mentioned. These references were understated and not reflective of the criticality of the 2023 incomplete audit until Jeff Land made his question and received his answer. The administration previously stated the lack of the 2023 audit has prevented access to public comments. The administration stated in the March 18 COW, Fundy Albert was given a grace period by the Alma Water Project contractor to delay payments on larger invoices. How much will this increase the cost of Alma Water Project? Typically, when an invoice is not paid on time, interest payments apply. The E6 proposal, worst case scenario, which must be planned for, is $138,000, not $128,000, as council resolution does not reflect the worst case for the implementation of the new finance system, plus $30,000 for software implementation, making the E6 proposal roughly $168,000. The first paragraph mentions utilizing local government funding, which is, I understand, $120,000. It is a loan, or is it a grant? If it's a grant, $48,000 is not covered and needs to be found. If it's a loan, is there a budget item for $168 so you can avoid interest charges? What is the end game? After spending $168,000 in a year, will Fundy Albert have a fully functioning accounting system and a fully trained staff? Given the magnitude of the money spent thus far, delinquent audits, and even more money to be spent, I ask an agenda item be added to each meeting addressing what has been accomplished and what is planned going forward with forecasts for audit completion, expenditures to date, and remaining budget. I'll take your questions if you have any.
Thank you, Mr. Warnick. Is there any comments or questions to the statement?
What in particular are you looking for, Mr. Warren? You're questioning the budget with all the numbers. Is there any more behind this?
Well, as a cost analysis, you look at the comparative proposal from E6, and they talk about on page 4, $20,000 to $30,000 is extra for extra work. It's important to know what you're getting into because your money, my money, is valuable. And so what I'm trying to point out is there's a lack of clarity there. So I would ask for more clarity. In addition to that, there is no mention of any cost for software. And if you're getting new software, you need new hardware that can run that software. The E6 proposal does not estimate expenses, but they talk about expenses. There's no expense sheet provided. What's the price per kilometer? What's the price for over 8 hours if there's any charge? If the employee from E6 is going to their office normally, are they charged in time and mileage to come to this office? That could bust your budget if it's not controlled. And you need to have a heads up front end look at that before you decide what you're going to do. So Is there any indication that you're gonna get more funds from the Department of Environmental and Local Government if the 120 is expended? If the village does not show a good showing of how they've diligently spent the money seriously and succinctly, you may not get any more help anywhere else from the province. And I believe that the province should recognize that the marriage of 3 utility systems and 1 director of operations strains the system. And that should have been funded when Chad Peters was setting all this up. I think that the success depends on Fundy Albert providing information to the E6 accountants. If the E6 accountant is occupying all of Jillian's time, how will a day-to-day accounting take place during the course of business? You gotta dig out a bunch of information, that's gonna take Jillian away from the day-to-day. So is there enough staff to do the day-to-day? I have a story on that might give you a perspective. Whenever we started up a construction project, we had bootstrap. Fundy Albert was started up. That was a project. If we put 20 engineers in there, we added 10% more extra engineers until bootstrap period could be solved. And then they went away back to the home office and worked on estimates or did whatever. But there was none of that here. Everybody was thrown into a boat and told to paddle. So I think it should be recognized because you got a lot of information to find. You got to run the day-to-day of the operations of it. You're going to be spending a lot of time educating this accountant from E6. His time frame is probably even longer than 12 months. And those are things I would like for you to consider as you deliberate on this. And I know that that would make, if it's all set up right, that would make Kim's job a lot easier.
Thank you again. So I'll just add a couple of comments. I mean, as you just witnessed, that motion has been tabled until further information is received, and council has asked for some of the items that you have just has mentioned. For example, detailed budget, timeline, scope of work. We've asked for more information on that. I think you did ask a question with regards to ELG receiving more funds. I kind of. Hey, it would be great, and we'll continue to ask. I don't know if the possibility is there or not, but I'm not afraid to ask for those funds, for additional funds. I'm intrigued by your comment of adding an agenda item based on the 2023 audit, and council has asked for a little bit more communication, weekly communication updates from including E6 and hopefully an auditor at that point to determine the status updates. We do take this seriously. This is a really important topic to not only the citizens of Fundy Albert, but to council as well. So we will move this forward as quickly and appropriate as possible. Is any other councillors wish to make a comment?
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments, and I think we all know the importance of having this audit done, and it doesn't go unnoticed that soon the 2024 audit will be late as well. So it doesn't go unnoticed by the residents of Fundy Albert or by council.
Perfect.
Thank you, Ms. Warren. A lot of things you were mentioning off is we had discussed them 45 minutes before, so we're all in this together, and it's got to work. I appreciate your comments.
We constituents don't win unless you win.
Okay.
The only way you can win is if you take advantage of all the talent around you to help you win.
Well said. Thank you for those comments. So I believe we've reached the end of our agenda related to the open portion. We have a few items under the closed session. Could I please get a motion to move into the closed session? Motion's made by Councillor Land, seconded by Councillor Jonah. Any questions on this motion? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion has been approved unanimously. Thank you for joining us tonight.
And
Thank
I
you.
apologize, I'm sorry, I wasn't here in time.
You missed your motion.